All right, so this is the 5.5 video of our series on martial techniques and their poetry, taking a brief intermission to go over the applications for the prior mentioned techniques. So I'll be going over them from 1 to 5, and then in later videos, I'll be doing the same kind of thing. I'll film like 5 or so, and then I'll have an applications video intermission before the next 5 or so. All right, so the first one we have is Lohan robe. So the technique is done like this. And this, as I explained in the video, is an armbar for breaking the elbow across your neck, which is weird. I didn't think it would work in real life, but I ended up getting it work in sparring, which was amazing. So the general idea of this is like he throws a punch, and like I block like this here. This is me stepping in like this. So this is my block. And then from here, I want this to go across my neck like this. So I'm pulling it across like this, and at the same time, my hand goes out. This hand's important, because if you don't do this hand, you're going to be clocked in the face. So, because if I just go like this, he's gonna do that. So this hand forms two purposes. One, darting to the eyes, because this will give him something to distract him while I'm doing this whole thing. So he'll either block that, or he'll throw a punch at me, and this is like to block, right? And then perfectly, I go through here, and now I'm in my technique. So to break it down, can you go like this in front of the camera, please? So this is the hand that was punching me, and this is the hole that I'm going to be going under. So as I go under, I'm going through here, and I'm going to end up with my neck right at the elbow point, and my hand is going to go across and reach as far as I can. So not just here. I'm going to reach as far as I can and pull in this direction. So you'll see it stretches him out a little bit, yeah? And if I just go a little bit, it's probably not going to be good for him, right? So to finish the whole movement, right? So we have this part. The next part of the motion that continues into the next movement, we hold the ball. So, I mean, this is the break, right? Because you're just going to keep this spot in place while this goes that way, which is not meant to do, while this goes that way, which again, in relation to this positioning, is not meant to do. So essentially, you just break him over your neck. Make sure to reach through your neck and not keep it too relaxed or flaccid, because it needs to be a sturdy pivot point. And now, if you want to be nicer about it, which Lohan tends to do, you'll just guide him to the ground like this. But that's being more compassionate. That's like if you have somebody drunk at the bar, you just want to put them on the ground and be like, okay, buddy, let's chill out. And then you can do the more breaky thing to someone who's threatening your life. Okay, so that's Lohan robe. Next, we have a 3-pack, special deal, of the martial art innuendos. So first we had monkey steal speech. So this is basically, he comes to strike in my face, and this goes for the peach or the giblets. You know, there's nothing really need to be said more about that. It's all the poetry referring to different parts of the body. In this case, it happened to be a little bit more, you know, peachy. So he goes to attack. This is my block, and I pivot and I turn, and that gives me this hooking here. As I grab, I step underneath, and I can strike to the groin. And if I want to do it in the full sense where we end up in this cat stance here, this then ends up as a sweep. So as I go through here, this sweep trips out the foot as I strike his groin. He's both going to be made light in 2 different ways. One, because I'm going to take him off his feet, and the other because I'm going to make him a little bit lighter, you know? I'm gonna give him a little bit of helium to speak with for the next however long. Then the next one after that was called Strike the Blue Dragon, which is again referring to another member. So he goes to strike, I come over the top and I strike downwards like this. So basically, as I mentioned there, you're going to make the dragon blue. That's his dragon, and you're going to make it blue from bruising. So, I mean, there's not much else to say about it. You can either come over from the top like this, or you can come underneath and strike like this. Also get a nice arm bar there. And then the third in that video was Needle the Red Dragon. The Red Dragon is less of a innuendo but also a very gross place to be as well. The red dragon is referring to his tongue. You're going to needle it with your fingers. Now, I can understand the hesitation to want to do that because that's kind of gross, you know. And also because like the whole bitey thing. But the thing about this technique is it's going to be done very fast and it's going to be taking advantage of a natural reaction to pain. So the idea here is like I'm drunken, because this is drunken boxing, right? So this is my grabbing behind the back of the neck. This is the open separate. And then we're going to go into the drill here. So here, I'm going to, I'm just going to dig my fingers in. If you know pressure points, it's great. I mean, even if you don't know pressure points, you just grab in that fleshy area back there and you just start shoving your fingers in there. Yeah, it's going to cause pain. If they don't open their mouth, you can stick this in their neck or their eyeballs, or you can just make it a punch. If they do open their mouth, you're just going to jam this as fast as you can in there so they don't have the proper time to reflex to your fingers being shoved down their throat. And there's this part of the tongue, like if this is the end of my tongue, and this is the part where it goes down into my throat, you're going to try and needle back here, which, you know, that's going to cause a throw-up response. And it's going to be very, like, people typically don't want to fight when they're throwing up. So this is a good fight ender for, like, if you get somebody drunk, and you're also going to help them because they're not going to be drunk as bad. But yeah, so you get this block here, this reaches around to the back of the neck, causes a reaction, shove this down their throat, and make sure, see, I'm going to mention this just for, because you'll understand why. If you hold our arms out like this, this is what we call the inside gate. In drunken boxing, is referred to as being inside the barrel. Everything around here is the outside gate or outside the barrel. Don't be on the inside gate during this. Because if he pukes, he's going to likely puke here unless he's conscious enough to do this. But I mean, you just shove your fingers down his throat. You have control over his neck. You can just push him down here to throw up there. But make sure you're not standing here when he throws up. Just make sure you put yourself out of the blast zone. Fun drunken boxing tip. Anyway, after that, we have the Yang style's wild horse pounces main. So this is like a typical throw you see. This is my grabbing the ball here. If I want to get screwy with it, I can make this into a break. And then the follow-up here is I step behind, try and get as weight back as you can, or if you can only get behind one foot, that's fine. Make sure this is locked so it's not going to be too loose. You want to pull that down with you. And then you connect this to your spine and you rotate your spine. And you trip them over your foot. So like I said in the video, the whole important principle that we're learning there is to connect the spine and rotate the spine. So if I try to do this with my arms and he tries to resist, right? It's not going to happen. But if I just relax that and connect to my spine, suddenly I have a lot more rotational force. So then we get to throws where, like, you know, and suddenly they're being thrown around and on their butts. You know, typical throw fashion. So that's wild horse pounces main. Next we have from Xinyiliuhe, tiger pounces forward or tiger pounces through the bones. This is pretty straightforward and simple. You attack me. This is like my cover, and then here I attack into the rib cage. Now anyone who's had rib injuries knows it's very easy to have happen, especially with the lower ones here, because I mean, it's not supported by anything underneath that other than the muscle. But if you're striking in there with like a firm bone like the palm here, it's going to easily break. I mean, it's ridiculous how like easy it is to break. So you have to be careful with training partners, especially. So he goes into strike. This is my cover, and if he happens to come in with the other hand, you know, this is always, you can cover here and then go right in and strike right where the rib cage ends. And that's going to be bad news bears. Because as we again discussed in the video, the whole principle behind it is that the tiger pounces through the bones and through the target. So I'm not just hitting him here. I'm going to try and hit him over there. And my whole body is going to be behind it, right? So it's not just me like pushing him, right? So if you take a stance, I'm not just pushing him with my arms. I am going to push through with my body. And that's all coming behind a strike. So the entire force of your body moving forward should be behind the palm strike. And that's the important part about it, is the whole unit's spinal force coming through. Now, last but not least, Tai Peng spreads his wings from Baguazhang. So in this, I discussed it in two ways. So one is if like he has his guards up, right? So I want to get in and open up. So right now, I've separated his hands. From here, any number of techniques can be done. I can slap here as I rotate here, or I can double slap, break his eardrums, or I can go to the groin. This whole thing is basically the opening up to the variety of options that you can have once you're there. So these guys' guards up, I sneak in between and open up. Okay, the second and my more favorite is like he gets his guards up and I'm going to attack here and then I'm going to weave my way towards the side here and step through. And then here's like where I start walking, right? Where we walk the circle. But this I'm just going to take and do into a full naked choke. So it's the opening before we do the closing. So attack, weave my way to the side, just get the crux of my elbow in there, and then I can do the full rest of the wrap, which is like this. We wrap it around, touch the crux of the elbow, and then around, secure the back of the neck. So one more time. And then we just walk off, right? He's our buddy now. So that was Tai Peng spreads his wings, and that concludes the 5 videos that we've gone over so far. So make sure you check out the playlist if you haven't checked the previous videos out already to get more details on the movements and the poetry, and we'll be back with more in the future.